Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Maisy Mok. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. 8 people arrested in the city's biggest cryptocurrency scandal are released on bail. Cold chicken dishes get a clean bill of health in a test on food safety. And United Nations Chief Antonio Guterres delivers a stark warning to the world. 8 people arrested in the JPEX cryptocurrency scandal have been released on bail. Hong Kong's technology chief Sun Dong says the case serves as a warning to the authorities to tighten regulations. Chloe Fong reports.
Influencer Chen Yi, who was arrested on Monday over the JPEX case, revealed in a video that she was released on bail of $1 million. She was among 8 people arrested on suspicion of conspiracy to defraud through the dubious cryptocurrency trading platform JPEX. All, including another influencer, Joseph Lam, were freed on bail last night and have to report to police next month. Sources said 5 were linked to JPEX-affiliated companies. 2 were company secretaries, 1 a staff member, and the other 2 were with a firm registered in Australia. In its latest statements, JPEX again defended itself, saying it had been communicating with the Securities and Futures Commission to seek legal and compliant guidance, but did not receive any positive responses. It also said all its platform operations are normal despite the challenges.
所以呢，我们有必要在各个方面呢，要加强法律法规的规管。
Technology Chief Sun Dong said the case is a warning bell for the authorities to ramp up regulations. Separately, Dora Lee, General Manager of the Investor and Financial Education Council, said there's been a surge in the number of people investing in virtual assets over the past years. The largest number of investors seeking short-term returns were aged between 18 and 29. So far, over 1,600 JPEX investors have told police they invested a total of nearly $1.2 billion, making the largest case of its kind in Hong Kong. Chloe Feng, HKIBC.
All 100 chicken dishes tested by the Center for Food Safety have been given a clean bill of health, but food handlers have been told not to let their guard down. The Center for Food Safety tested 100 samples of shredded chicken, Hainan chicken, and other cold chicken dishes from restaurants and takeaway outlets. Principal Medical Officer Tony Chow said food preparation should be more thorough as bacteria grow easily in the summer. But after a series of tests on hygiene and pathogen growth in food, the center concluded that it was satisfied with the results. All the samples complied with the food safety criteria for pathogenic bacteria, but food handlers should always be alert.
They have to make sure that the chicken meat are cooked roughly, as well as preventing the cross-contamination of the chicken meat. So they have to practice this kind of good hygiene practice all the time.
People were advised to eat cold chicken dishes as soon as possible after they are bought, or kept refrigerated if they are not consumed immediately. Police have arrested 16 people and seized drugs worth $2.6 million. Officers raided 4 storerooms during the past 3 days to crack down on a syndicate that sold cannabis products through the messaging platform Telegram. Cannabis buds, oils, and chocolates were among the items confiscated in various parts of the city. The suspects include 3 taxi drivers. Police believe that the cabbies drove syndicate members to meet clients. The first Hong Kong-made satellite will be launched into space in November. Technology Minister Sun Dong also said at least 2 Hong Kongers are in the final round of selection in China's space program. Technology Minister Sun Dong was among those celebrating the assembly of the city's first homemade commercial satellite. The Hong Kong Star will be launched in November from a mainland rocket. The satellite is equipped with a high-resolution camera. HK Satellite Manufacturing Center, which constructed the high-tech equipment, said the data collected can alert countries to natural disasters or construct smart cities. The manufacturer plans to build 720 satellites before 2029 to form a satellite constellation in space and a spaceport in Hong Kong to launch them.
不止一人。
Speaking after the ceremony, Sun said at least 2 Hong Kongers have been selected to the final round of China's space program. He did not reveal the exact number, but there's at least 1 man and 1 woman. Over 100 Hong Kongers applied to become astronauts after China made the invitation. Customs officers have confiscated 49 boxes of counterfeit mooncakes that were intended for sale online. The cakes worth $16,000 were seized from 2 buildings in Mong Kok and Tsz Wan Shan. They were sold under 2 established brand names, which had a different best before date than the fake ones. The counterfeit mooncakes were offered at a 10 to 30% discount. 3 suspected sellers were arrested and released on bail. Overseas, United Nations Chief Antonio Guterres has warned that the world is tearing itself apart. His message came as leaders of emerging nations demanded a bigger say in global affairs. Azam Khan reports.
Leaders and government representatives from at least 145 countries congregated at the United Nations General Assembly in New York to discuss the state of the world. Secretary General Antonio Guterres opened with a tribute to the victims of the recent deadly floods in Libya.
Thousands of people in Derna, Libya, lost their lives in epic, unprecedented flooding. They were victims many times over, victims of years of conflict, victims of climate chaos, victims of leaders, near and far, who failed to find a way to peace.
Guterres followed his statement with dire warning.
As we speak, Excellencies, our world is becoming unhinged. Geopolitical tensions are rising, global challenges are mounting, and we seem incapable of coming together to respond.
The next speaker, President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva of Brazil, stressed the importance of modernizing international governance to solve global conflicts, pointing to the suffering of the Palestinian people. For the second time in a week, Lula lambasted the American embargo on Cuba, saying it goes against the UN Charter. The crippling embargo, which Washington imposed in 1962, was also denounced by Cuban President Miguel Díaz-Canel. The Cuban leader spelt out the suffering his country has endured because of the trade blockade. He accused powerful countries of using human rights as a smokescreen and political weapon for their own geopolitical ends. Azam Khan, HKIBC.
Also speaking in New York was U.S. President Joe Biden, who addressed relations with Beijing.
When it comes to China, I want to be clear and consistent. We seek to responsibly manage the competition between our countries so it does not tip into conflict. I've said we are for de-risking, not decoupling with China, but we also stand ready to work together with China on issues where progress hinges on our common efforts.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is scheduled to meet U.S. lawmakers this week to press for more money for his war with Russia. But some legislators are skeptical about giving Ukraine massive amounts of U.S. assistance.
Is Zelensky elected to Congress? Is he our president? I don't think I have to commit anything. I have questions for him. Where's the accountability on the money we already spent? What is the plan for victory? I think that's what the American public wants to know.
Zelensky heads to Washington after addressing the United Nations, where he accused Russia of using food and fuel as weapons. He wants the U.S. to keep pouring aid to help his counteroffensive against Moscow. Washington has already given Ukraine over $100 billion, sparking calls for a rethink. Israeli troops have shot and killed 4 Palestinians in the latest outbreak of violence in their region. Youssef Radwan died after being hit in the neck during a protest along the border between the Gaza Strip and Israel. 11 other Palestinians were wounded. Israel reacted to the protest by closing the border. The move deprives the thousands of Palestinians who work in Israel of their livelihood. Separately, 3 Palestinians were killed and 30 wounded in clashes with Israeli soldiers who raided the occupied West Bank town of Jenin. Cathay Pacific's passenger numbers soared last month, helped by the summer peak travel season. Hong Kong's flag carrier flew nearly 1.8 million passengers in August, a jump of 600% from the same month last year. Cathay says the outlook for the rest of 2023 is promising as students return to Britain. Prospects for its cargo arm are also encouraging, with peak season beginning this month. The airline carried 117,000 tons of cargo last month, up 11.5% from a year earlier. Now let's take a look at the market. The Hang Seng Index ended the day down by 111 points. To the top 10 active stocks, Tencent was down $3.20. Tracker Fund was down 12 cents. CCB was up 1 cent, while AIA was up 30 cents. To Forex trading against the Hong Kong dollar, Euro is at 8.37, British pound is at 9.67, while the Australian dollar is at 5 points. And in the UK market, the London FTSE is currently up 53 points. That's our main news for Wednesday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Maisy Mok. Good evening.